Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Dr. Paul White. He has helped companies like Microsoft and Starbucks create healthier workplaces. He is a psychologist as well as a best-selling author. So we'll talk about his proven framework to boost retention, engagement, and productivity by communicating authentic appreciation. And we'll also talk about his book. Welcome to the show, Dr. Paul.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show. Dr. Paul, welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people a lot of organizations across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how one can make work relationships actually work. So we'll understand all this from you. But before that, let's understand a bit about your background, your journey, so that people know who they are listening to.
Yeah, so I'm a psychologist by training. I grew up in the context of a family-owned business. And in mid-career, some friends that were business consultants asked me to help them deal with the relational issues involved in business. And so through that, I had the opportunity to co-author with a best-selling author, Dr. Gary Chapman, who wrote The 5 Love Languages, which has sold 25 million copies in 50 languages. And we applied the love languages, which were for personal relationships, to work. And so we thought appreciation was the best parallel concept. And so we've used those and have over the past 15 years helped over, hundreds of thousands of people. Our book has sold 600,000 copies. Our assessment's been taken by 450,000 people globally, and we work in over 60 countries. So I've been fortunate to be able to have an impact and help create positive, healthy workplaces in spite of the stress of work.
Absolutely. So a lot of companies believe that, actually that's what happens on the ground, whether they will not explicitly say that you come to work and we pay you for your work. You
Right.
come, you require us, so you come to us. We require you, so you go to you. At the end of the day, there is no sort of a relationship in that sense. You go your way, we go our way. In that context, when you talk of relationships, how practical is it in today's time, especially with AI coming into our workplaces?
Well, it's critical because unless we forget our customers are people, our employees are people, our vendors are people. And yes, AI is coming in, but already we're seeing that the companies that are adopting that quickly are seeing a need to pay attention to their employees, because sort of the model of the past of employees just being in essence an asset that we use to get work done isn't working with younger generations, that they want to be seen as a whole person. And that means that we pay attention to them. And the goal, there are a lot of misconceptions about appreciation. And one is that the goal is just to make people feel good. That's nice. We want that to happen. But actually, we have research that shows that when your team members feel valued and appreciated, good things happen. People come to work on time and are not late. Attendance improves. Turnover goes down. People don't quit to take other jobs. It's easier to recruit new team members because they see a healthy workplace. Productivity actually goes up because turnover is one of the highest costs, non-productive costs in business, as well as people get to get along better and work together. They're not so territorial when they feel like they're valued. And so good things happen in a business-wise. And actually, the SEC in the United States and the EU in Europe are adopting rules that for investors to see how a company treats their employees, because you have two companies that do the same thing. If one treats their employees better than the other, these are more profitable. So it's a good business decision to make. So, and the other thing is, it's not just for the leaders to show appreciation. We found that team members want to know that they value one another. So we teach team members as well as the leaders how to show appreciation.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Paul. So when it all feels good, when it is also profitable, such brilliant people in companies, why are they not able to do it? And especially when showing appreciation is a very human sort of a thing, why have they not able to do it? And the great resignation very recently happened.
Yes, I think there's many reasons. One is that many of the leaders have never either maybe thought about it or weren't taught it in their business classes. This is not something that until recently has been taught in business schools. And that what can happen is we start to look just at the numbers and treat people like assets versus people. And it's a narrow-minded approach to thinking about business. It's sort of like, just treating your customers only as people who buy things, but not understanding that how to market to them to meet their needs, their psychological needs as well. And what has happened is, you have structures that are sort of entrenched, like recognition. We believe that recognition is different than appreciation. Recognition is systemic; it's top down from the company and maybe HR, and that it's mainly about performance. But we recognize that appreciation is person to person, and also it's about the person, that we each have characteristics that are of value that maybe don't show up in our productivity, but help the company as well. I like to work with cheerful people more than grumpy people, and that avoids a lot of problems when you have people that get along well.
Absolutely. So help us understand about this appreciation that you talk about. And unfortunately, organizations don't know about one language of appreciation. You talk about 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. That's a problem of plenty. So help us
Yes.
understand from a common employee's perspective.
Yes. So most people, when they hear the word appreciation, they think about words. They think about giving a compliment or saying thanks, and that's a good start. That's one of the main languages. But we found from our research globally, over 400,000 people, that if you only use words, you're missing over half of your team members in the ways that they want to be shown appreciation. And also, usually words, people don't do it so well. They do it fairly globally. Good job. I'm glad you're part of the team. That doesn't mean much to most people. We found that using a person's name, being very specific in what you value about them and how it impacts either you or the organization or your clients is important. You need to be specific. The other languages are quality time. And we found there's generational differences. And those of us that are a little bit older sort of valued people that time with our managers or our supervisors, either sharing observations we have or learning from them, whereas younger employees want time with their peers and colleagues. And so I tell managers, just because you have a team member who has quality time as a language doesn't mean they want time with you. You may be great, but they want to hang out with their friends and do things that way. Third language is acts of service. And these are the people that sort of live by the saying, words are cheap. Don't tell me you support me, show me. And it's like maybe they're working on a project that has a time deadline. They're working hard to get it done. What's something that you can do to help them get that done? Maybe take a part of the project that they delegate to you, or maybe take care of their incoming emails for a day so they can focus on the project, that kind of thing. And that's about 20% of the population right there. And then tangible gifts. And it's not compensation or bonuses or raises. These are small things that show that you're getting to know your colleagues as a person. It might be their, the favorite way they like their tea done, and you bring in some tea, or maybe, some information about their favorite sports team, their cricket team or football team. Or it might be that you have some knowledge about maybe they're starting a garden, or they're going to start fixing food for the holidays, and you have some ways to help them out. So it's just small things, but can make a big difference because it's from you person to person. It's not organizationally. And the last one, which differs across cultures, is physical touch. In the United States, especially in some parts, they're very sort of leery of touch, but in other parts, it's very important. And it's more celebration. It's like a high five when you finish a project, maybe a fist bump or a congratulatory handshake. In Latin America and in Southern Europe, they're more physical, and so they greet with a kiss on the cheek. And if you don't touch at all, it feels very cold and impersonal to them. So we find out, and it's always the recipient who decides what's appropriate. And so we teach team members. We have this assessment that teaches people what each of their languages and the specific actions that they like, also what they don't like. And then we have a training program. It takes a half day for the team to go through to learn and practice showing appreciation to one another in the ways that are meaningful.
Absolutely, Dr. Paul. So in these times of, toxic workplaces, you are also talking about almost a utopian idea, Dr. Paul. How does it work on the ground? Do you have another department apart from the human resource department then?
Oh, yes. In fact, what has been amazing to me as I've worked with organizations across the world is that it's fun to see how the principles are seemingly universal, but the way that you apply it is specific to each culture, right? So in India, what quality time is or how that looks is different than maybe in the United States or in Britain. But we found that teaching team members, they're the ones that really grasp this, that they want to be valued. And you don't have to start at the top of the organization. It's helpful, but lots of times we just start with a pilot project with a supervisor or a manager and their team. And their team members that aren't part of it start to feel a little jealous, to be honest. And they say, hey, how come they get to do this? And then it goes sort of virally across the culture because they see, largely because we emphasize authenticity. We're not teaching people how to look like you appreciate somebody, but to really get to know them and value them. And we deal with the problem of people that you don't appreciate. What do you do with that? And we don't want you to try to fake it. That doesn't go well. But we teach team members how to learn to value one another.
Absolutely. So how does it work on the ground? Means I want to understand it from how have you described this in the book, the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplaces. Does it work the way you have seen it everywhere? Are there any prerequisites for this that the employer has to be clean-hearted, that they really want to do it, and that they really don't want to do some cosmetic changes?
Yeah, you're pushing me. That's good. What we found is that we start with the people who are interested and work the plan there. And it can start very small, like a group of 8 to 10, 12, 15 employees. And we help sort of acculturate it to their both context work-wise, because medical settings, I mean, we do it in hospitals, in public schools, in the government, even in the military, in construction, in engineering, all different settings, but we help contextualize it so that it fits the workplace culture, because otherwise you're sort of trying to give them a plan that doesn't work for their setting. And we have research. I mean, the New York Times wrote about us in our work with a mining company, and that they took not only the languages, but they made visual symbols and put it on their hard hats so that they knew what each other's language was. We've been written about in the BBC News, Forbes, Fortune, the U.S. News and World Report, all different kinds of places, because it works. And we have published over 15 published academic research publications that demonstrate it as well.
Absolutely. So in your book, in your book, who is this book for? Is it for the employees? Is it for the companies, owners of the companies? Is it for small businesses? Is it for mid-size? Is it for big
Yeah.
businesses? You have worked with big businesses.
Yeah, what's interesting, it's for whoever is interested to learn. And what we found is that I would say probably the sweet spot is a supervisor or manager who wants to help their team work together better. But clearly, employees, it's a simple book. It's not difficult. And I tell people, read the introduction and then pick and choose the chapters. You don't have to read the whole thing to get involved. And then business leaders as well use it. And often books are bought for the whole management team and they read it. Often I'll speak to the leadership, the executive team or management. And then we have an online train the trainer course that someone can go through, and they take that, and it has videos and slides and facilitator's guide and handouts, and it's easy. It's turnkey. Anybody that's done any kind of leading a training can take a team through it, and it just sort of grows virally across the organization.
Absolutely. What are the challenges in implementing such a you can say utopian step, if I may again use that word in today's time, Dr. Paul? Is it that it will be difficult to fire them if you need to?
No, I think some of the obstacles are first that people confuse employee recognition programs with appreciation. They overlap some, but ours is really focused person to person and can work in conjunction. In fact, PepsiCo, Caterpillar, other major corporations are using them together. And also I grew up professionally in small organizations and nonprofits. And so I wanted to make resources inexpensive and available. And so it can be used for small organizations, public organizations, even charities and those kinds of things. So you don't have to be big. The cost is not huge. And I think it's more a perspective and attitude that, people need to work. And hey, I'm all about it. Team members need to work. But the issue is that when they feel valued and appreciated, they put forth more effort. One of the things that improves is creative problem solving, because if you encounter a problem and you don't think anybody cares, why put forth the extra effort? But if you know you're going to be seen and heard and valued for what you're trying, you're more likely to put that forth. And so good things happen as a result of knowing that you're going to be valued for your efforts.
Absolutely. What about those leaders who think that, they have to look a bit stern, they have to look a bit strong, and that, all these things will dilute their so-called charisma?
Yeah. So, we run into leaders and managers who are not interested in this at all. And I just say, if you don't become obstructive, don't get in the way, but you can just stand to the side and watch and see what happens. And what happens is they see the good things that happen, and that it's not that difficult. And they'd actually, if they don't want to engage, they don't have to, because team members and other leaders will. And so we don't force it. It's by choice. In fact, I encourage leaders not to mandate that, okay, we're going to do this program and everybody has to do it, because that takes away the perception of authenticity. Well, they're just doing this because they have to. Whereas if it's a volunteer choice, you're more likely to receive it as genuine and real.
Right. So it almost becomes like a organizational culture, is it?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the fun things is to see how different organizations adapt the principles for their culture, because one of the things we encourage is to engage and involve appreciation at the beginning of team meetings, right? And say, hey, what was positive this week? What did you see happen? And we engage in different ways. Sometimes we have posters on the walls as reminders. We use their intranet and have postings there. And so it's both structured but also spontaneous. It allows for creativity and it's fun to see it, especially in different, not only different workplaces, but different kinds of cultures. We work in the Philippines, in Korea. I mean, our book is in 25 languages. Our assessment is in 9 languages. And so it's fun to see it applied in different ways.
Absolutely. And 600,000 copies sold. Who bought these books, Dr.
I,
Paul?
well, I don't have that many cousins, so there's somebody out there had to buy them. And it's been fun to see, I go and speak, or we sell. So the book has been out 15 years now, and most books sell 70 to 80% of all of their books in the first 100 days, so 3+ months or so. And we're still selling 3,000 copies a month, every month, because it works and people share. That's really what happens is people find it and they share it with maybe a family member or a team member or their supervisor, and they look into it and they give it a try. It's not that hard to try. Lots of times we'll have teams do little book clubs at a workplace, and they buy the books and read it together and discuss it over lunch or whatever.
Absolutely. It's very heartening to know because the world is changing, especially the workplaces seem to be changing with people buying such books and perhaps also implementing it. So do you think, the way this, these number of copies sold, the way people are responding, the organizations, different media houses have covered what you have written, does it look like that the future of workplaces will be somewhat so-called utopian? I put it, but so much realistic that the way you describe it, is it that the future and the companies, even if they don't like it, they will have to do it? That's the future.
I'm a realist as well, and I would say it is the future for some workplaces and not for others. There will be resistance, and the people that resist and the leaders that resist are going to have a harder time because they're going to have a harder time keeping the key employees. They're going to not be as profitable and productive, and so they're, sort of losing in the marketplace that way. And we're finding that organizations that are sort of hardcore and just we're going to get the work done, they do that for a while, but it's sort of like sometimes we talk about this as appreciation like oil in a machine, that it helps the machine function better. And if you don't have oil, then you have friction and you have heat and conflict, and it takes more effort to get the same results. So I think they become less effective. But there's always going to be some resistance. But fortunately, a lot of leaders, and again, I think the new culture from younger generations is sort of forcing this, that they don't want to just be a production unit, but they want to be viewed as a person and valued that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much to learn about all this from you, Dr. Paul. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of organizations would want to connect with you, learn more about this, learn more from you, also from your book, connect with you as a client. What's the best way for them to do so?
Our website is appreciationatwork.com, and it's the word at, so appreciationatwork.com. And there's information about the books, about our trainings, about the assessments. Our research is published there. And if they have any questions at all, we love to get back to people and find out how we can help them out.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.